Hello, I'm Red Robot, and welcome to yet another terrible tactic. Today, we're examining the Apocalypse Soldier loadout, a selection of weapons designed for the highest damage possible, but at a cost. The Airstrike is already an incredible weapon. I think everyone knows how powerful it is, with 8 rockets in a clip and a ridiculous fire rate. So, I decided to pair it with the Buff Banner, a weapon that could help patch up some of the Airstrike's weaknesses. One of the main problems with the Airstrike is that when people are using it as intended, actually bombing people, not as a special needs 8-shot regular rocket launcher, you're often too far away from your targets to do the optimum amount of damage. Plus, the splash radius is smaller, so you can sometimes fail to inflict maximum damage. The mini-crits provided by the Buff Banner give you a damage boost and remove damage fall-off completely. However, this actually worked against me in some ways. It turns out the additional knockback from the mini-crits actually caused the targets to be pushed further away, causing missed rockets and less overall damage. I was also running into huge health issues with this loadout. The reduction of self-damage granted by the Airstrike just wasn't enough to cope with the amount I had to jump around. When I was low, I'd often need to jump away. The gunboat, space jumper, or even conch could have served me much better with this regard. This is where the escape plan can really shine. In situations like this where you have no health to jump away, the escape plan is pretty much your only option, and it can work extremely well if you do it right. As with your health, using the Airstrike goes through your ammo reserves like nothing else, so it's really important to pick up any spare ammo kits you find around too, as well as hogging the main ones. Also, I'm not really the best Airstrike soldier. I often fall into the trap of wanting to fire all my rockets at once, instead of aiming them individually. If I had been a bit more discerning with my loaded ammo, and more accurate with my shots, the devastation would have been much greater. It might sound like I'm saying this loadout is crap, and that's kind of because it is. Honestly, the Airstrike relies on a reliable secondary, and the Buff Banner is just dead weight 99% of the time. However, once you pull off the combo, you've 8 rockets loaded and a Buff Banner charge ready. It's kind of like a situation where all the planets align, the perfect storm. You're facing a huge clump of people, they are all going to die. The rush you get for pulling off such a deadly combo is definitely worth just how helpless and vulnerable you are while you're building up your clip size and rage meter. This is probably the most difficult way you can play with the Airstrike. The time frame for shooting all your rockets while in midair is much smaller. The gunboats gives you that freedom for bigger rocket jumps with more health remaining, and the base jumper slows your descent and removes fall damage. The Buff Banner has none of these advantages, so you have to play it really safe. One point I didn't realize until much later on is just how long the Buff Banner charge lasts. In the beginning I was kind of rushing really hardcore to get in there, do as much damage as I could with the banner charge, which was probably a mistake because it led to me overextending, and the Buff Banner is actually long enough for multiple bombs, which is far more effective if you can play around health packs and medics properly. It was pretty frustrating running into sentries, it felt like all the time, especially if I had to waste my mini-crit rockets on it, as sentries ignore all crit damage. That being said, the Airstrike is still excellent at taking out sentries, or outdoor ones anyway. It's incredibly difficult for an NG to survive a full barrage of rockets, and if the sentry doesn't go down by some miracle, it's likely the engineer himself will die from splash damage. One of the most powerful effects of the Buff Banner, the Area of Effect mini-crit buff, is really underutilized in this strategy, and it's a bit of a shame. The Apocalypse Soldier is most effective when flanking a group of oncoming enemies or pushing forward across the lines to take out defenders. You're not exactly encouraged to stay within friendly territory in order to pass around the buff like you're supposed to. One thing that makes this loadout much easier to use and so much more effective is having a medic that's willing to help you out. I'm really abusing that overheal. But you've got to inform your doctor that you have basically no self-defense capability to speak of. Once you get low on reloaded rockets or ammo, you've got no shotgun. You can't be expected to protect your medic effectively. So if things go as they should, he probably will be dying a lot. It's a shame, but you don't really need any kind of ubercharge to be effective with this loadout, as your Buff Banner provides you with all that you need. And it's difficult for a non-quick fix medic to follow you around for any length of time anyway, and I'm not sure he'd appreciate being rocket jumped right into the fray. The Apocalypse Soldier is a great loadout for the patient, thinking player. If you're careful, manage your health and ammo well, and slowly build up your clip size and rage, it's possible to unleash a devastating ultimate attack that packs an unhealthy amount of damage. Wow, I actually think I took a good weapon and made it even worse. It's much more inconsistent now, but I think the highlights are just a little bit sweeter. That's all I've got for you right now. I'll catch you guys next time.